Hey, Andrew, welcome to the show. It's a way of getting started. Tell us about yourself.
Hey, thanks for having me. So my name is Andrew Undum. I run a sales team called the Sure Sales Group out of Baltimore, Maryland. We're the #1 Remax team in the state and one of the top real estate teams in the country.
Yeah.
In 2019, we did 150 million in sales with a relatively small number of agents. We have 14 people doing that volume. So that's what we do here in the Mid-Atlantic region, Central Maryland primarily, and happy to be on the show.
Cool. So if Ryan Serhant ever gets in trouble, you could be like a body double or a stunt man, I guess.
Yeah, it's funny. I love that. It's a compliment. I take it as a compliment because people seem to think he's
Well, he's
quite a
not
big.
ugly, that's for sure. Right?
Yeah, and you know what? I actually had the good fortune of talking to Ryan last week. He came into our sales meeting on FaceTime,
Yeah.
and there's a link of it. I'll send it to your audience if they want to see it. It's pretty cool. I say, hey, Ryan, get me up to New York City. You show the penthouse. I'll show the first floor. It'll be great television. Season 10 of Bravo. And you know what he said? He goes, we can do that. When can you come up?
Yeah.
I'll be there in 4 hours. I'm about trying to get that train today. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So why'd you choose real estate?
That's a good question. I was a finance guy in college. I graduated May of 2009. So I'm 32. '09 was a tough time for finance in general.
It was real easy for real estate too.
It was pretty, what I understand now is it was pretty bad for everybody, but particularly somebody who's like wanted to be a money guy, Wall Street, CFA.
That's probably the worst time since 1929 for that.
Exactly. So what I ended up doing was I ended up selling cars because I had sold cars in the summers in college, which by the way, parents out there, what an amazing job to give a kid because they'll hire anybody who has some wherewithal and they don't pay you anything unless you sell something, but you're getting this kind of human one-to-one.
Right. You're getting some, because it's a lot better than classic retail.
Oh yeah. I mean,
because it's kind of a complex sale, but it's a big dollar amount for people.
yeah, I mean, it's sales is sales, and it's just it was a good learning ground for me. So I ended up doing that for like 9 months. I was like I was on pace to make 6 figures, and now as a 21-year-old, that might as well have been $1 million.
Right.
So I'm like, I thought I was hot shit. And what happened was I ended up selling a car to a sales manager for a national builder.
Yeah.
A manager at Ryan Homes, NVR Inc. Huge on the East Coast, one of the biggest in the country. Definitely Wall Street's darling if you look at that ticker, NVR Inc. And she said, do you like selling cars? Do you like your job here? And I had such good reports. I said, hey, you know what? I hate it. Thanks for asking, though. I have to be here at 9 a.m. I leave at 9 p.m. It's dark when I get up. It's dark when I get home, but I got to do what I got to do. She loved it. She said, you should sell houses. And the rest was kind of history.
And what's it like selling houses? Because I watch the Bravo shows.
Sure.
And as a sales guy, I'm like, come on. Right? Because the pattern's all the same, right?
Yeah, I had the fortunate experience. I was on HGTV for one episode. It was House Hunters Renovation. And what you see on television is unbelievably fabricated and embellished.
Yeah.
To the point where you'll say something, say, hey, can you say that and be a little more upset? It's like a real
more drama.
And they turn good people into just for the drama. Hey, the wife, can you just really tell them you hate those countertops? But she's like, in real life, she's like, I like everything, but I guess you want me to be a bitch for the show.
Right. To try and get the price down or something.
So it's not like that. What it's really like, and I imagine it's like most sales jobs, is you better be following up. You better be working on your skills, your behavior, your attitude, your technique, and show up every day because it's an eat what you kill environment. And residential real estate in the general brokerage world, what we do now, unbelievably competitive. I think there's 1.3 million agents and realtors. That's people associated with the National Association of Realtors in the country. Half of them don't sell a house a year. It's a big problem. And then what you find, like many industries, it's the 80-20 rule. I think it's even more exaggerated in residential real estate, where I'd be willing to say 10% of the agents sell 90% of the real estate. So if you want to be one of those 10, you better be listening to you a lot, figuring out different ways to hone your craft on how I talk to a buyer, how I talk to a seller. And in theory is great, but reality is what matters. So,
right. Because it is a complex sale, even though it is B2C, because many meetings, you probably don't meet them in the morning and have a contract at night unless they're relocating. from another state or something.
Well, any good salesperson knows you got to just know when to shut up. A lot of times you can sell a house in a day if you do your job properly.
Right. Yeah.
But what I tell the agents on our team is our job is only two things. You need to give people exactly what they want. No one cares what you want. No one cares about the industry and all these little things going on in our heads. Give people exactly what they want. You want to go see this house? Let's just go see this house.
Yeah.
Don't get it all bogged down. So if you give people exactly what they want and do it in a manner in which they'll say nice things about you on the internet, in today's world, you're gonna light it up.
And how do you find out what they want?
Well, it's kind of like when you the first question you asked me when we got on here, I think perhaps before we started the interview, you said, hey, what would you like to accomplish today? Beautiful question. You're getting my agenda. And that's what it's about. You have to actually actively listen and care.
Care. Yeah.
You have to highlight that because some people just don't care. They want the commission breath. It's just like, oh, let me tell you something. I got to.
Right.
So you have to ask really good questions. And everyone knows, if you want better answers in life, ask better questions. So asking questions is an unbelievably valuable skill. But to find out what they want, after you get some basic bond and rapport down, which anybody listening to this, if you're in sales, I imagine you're naturally good at that, is to genuinely ask and care about, hey, what types of things would you like to accomplish? And don't assume you know anything. That's another big no-no.
Right. Yeah. And I guess because, I would think in real estate, you find out what's the motive to look for a new house.
Yeah. I mean,
is it
uncovering
kids? Is it marriage? Is it retirement? Is it?
It comes out much easier. I imagine it's a bit more complex in B2B, depending on the cast of characters you're talking to and where you're at in the sale. But in this environment, they pretty much come out and tell you people want to move for some pretty obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Everything you just said, they don't like their current situation, kids, job, outgrowing, downsizing, crime, schools. And again, you just listen and then try to just give them exactly what they want. In this B2C, a little bit faster of a sale, I'd say, than maybe most B2Bs is you can go through that pretty quickly. You don't need to hammer them so hard on their pain and their compelling reason to do business. Their guts are on the table.
Their active pain. Yeah.
Right. You just say, I got it. You want to move. Let's get to the next step. You don't slow down the process in B2C. Yeah. Which I find in B2B, it probably happens a bit more where you got to really make sure that your solution accurately matches what you're going for there. Right.
Because they may not have an active pain. Like when somebody comes to a realtor, they've decided they want something different. That they're not going to go kick tires because they can do that on Zillow. Right?
Yeah. Well, some people waste your time. You got to be conscious of that. We all know that. Some people are for real and dealing with the public. You're going to get what you're going to get, but that's
if they make $100K and they're looking for a $4 million house, then
that's a problem.
That's a problem. Right.
Yeah.
Or they give you a range. Look, anything from 300 to 3 million.
Yeah. Again, it all comes back to asking questions. And like in any sales job, you need to have your own process, at least some kind of skeleton. Of course, you make it your own. Everybody's different, but you need to have a process for the sale.
Yeah.
And I think everybody you've had on, and you talk about this a lot, is you just have to be comfortable identifying that process and having it in a conversational manner where you're not going to break rapport and make sure everybody's getting their needs met here.
Because if you don't have it, what's naturally going to happen is you're going to be worried about your interests, what you want. And
you can't actively want. Then you just cannot actively listen, and you're never going to actually be able to deliver step number one, which is giving them what they want.
Yeah. And how did you learn all this stuff? What was the process? Did you grow up in a family that were in sales, or did you just money motivated or competitive? Or
I grew up I had an awesome family. They're not, at least my parents, they're kind of more in the pharmacy world. By awesome parents, I was one of 4 kids, so I was always kind of getting that, I guess maybe some social ability there. But the main thing that happened for me was when I was doing that car sales job, actually out of college, when I was felt like I was a loser. I came across a guy who was selling a ton of cars, and he said, and we kind of became friends. And he said, hey, I'm going to leave this business. We were selling Porsches and Audis, which is another thing. Sell luxury cars, because the network, the people you meet, my God, I met some ballin' people. And everybody at the end of the day, Brian, everyone's just a bro or a cool girl. It's like, just be human. Hey, look, so what? I'm a car salesman. You're a CEO of this company. You want a Porsche? Let's roll. Whatever.
And believe me, they remember what it was like to be a college person selling cars.
Yeah. So everyone will give you the time of day. And I always say anybody I've ever asked for help's always been willing to help me. Like I asked you to be on you put out a post, you guys probably saw this. Hey, who can be on this? Who's a good salesperson? You know, I tagged some people I thought were really amazing. And I said, shit, I'm gonna ask them if I can do it. Next thing you know, that was 2 days ago. Here we are.
Right.
You got to put yourself out there. But
Once you filled out the form and I checked your references.
oh, did you? Oh, okay.
I'm joking.
I was gonna say, well, hey, I'm here, so I guess you didn't hate it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, anything works if you master it and you kind of. At the end of the day, it's the Indian, not the arrow. You can give you any arrows. You got to know how to fire this shit.
Anyone can swing a bat.
Exactly.
Right. There's only one Cal Ripken, though.
Hey, I'm not saying it's like the be all end all. I'm just saying that's kind of how I learned. Yeah, it's like how I got into it. Well, so fast forward, I take the job selling houses while I was still off 2 days a week. I said, guys, I still want to be in the game. And so I ended up staying real close to them. I teed them up with some opportunities. And then I've just kind of been one of their guys out in the streets, not directly affiliated, but like I actually ran some classes there back in the day, scared the daylights out of me to get in front of a classroom. Like, I don't want to present anything.
And why did you decide to build a team at your company now versus just stay a broker? I don't know the economics. I don't understand how that works.
Well, there's only so much time in a day. It's like my job at this point in this business, what you want to do is you want to generate as many opportunities as possible, good opportunities, good people where you can give them what they want and they'll say nice things about you. You can only do so much by yourself. And what you need is a good staff. Because if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant.
Right.
Period. Everyone knows that. So there's probably better uses of my time than actually filing paperwork or turning in the contract or putting things in the Google Calendar. So you start building a staff. And if what's good for you as a producer, naturally, when you're a high producer, other people will attract to that. And I found that through social media, like exactly what you're doing, you're amazing on LinkedIn. You can't even talk to all the people reaching out to you every day. That's what we try to create. So if you can create opportunities and have systems and platforms where you're better off working with me, I'll pay for everything. We'll help, we'll train, we'll deal doctor, use all our technology. And then I just get a little piece of what you get, which is still a lot better than what you'd be getting on your own. That's how it kind of works. So we're still looking to grow. We don't recruit, I will say, and we probably should, but everything's been organic.
And that's it, because a lot of localized businesses don't get LinkedIn. They stick with Facebook, which has, and I've got a realtor friend who kills it on Facebook, and doesn't even have a LinkedIn profile. How have you found it on LinkedIn?
Well, I think LinkedIn's I'm a big Gary Vee disciple, and I follow all these bigger influencers to a certain extent, including yourself. In LinkedIn right now, it just seems like, maybe, I'm not sure when it started, maybe when Microsoft bought it or not, but your organic reach is really good. And it's a place to put more curated professional content. What I found is, look, we use everything. I'm all over Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, and I'm on TikTok now because apparently that's what I should be doing.
I gotta see some of those.
It's the same kind of content I put on LinkedIn. But what I like about LinkedIn is I think the network's that much more professional. And what I've recently found is if I I'll put up a video, like a sales video. And if anyone goes to, it's all under my personal name, Andrew Unum, you find me on LinkedIn, you'll see some sales content that I think's good. I put that same stuff up on Facebook. I'll get like 8 likes. No one cares because they want to see me and my beautiful wife and kids. They don't give a shit about my career.
Right.
At least
that's it.
Maybe they do, but they're not liking it. But I put the same thing on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh my God, I got like 50 likes and 10 comments and a bunch of people sharing it on LinkedIn.
1 hour than I do on YouTube in a whole day.
Oh yeah.
So, and if you make it educational and entertaining, it gets even more. But for me, the whole world's my market. Your market's very local.
Right. Well, it makes it a little easier, I guess, but depending on which way you look at it, like for me, especially if you're targeting or if I'm going to actually pay to put something out, I can get kind of hyper local and it's a little easier.
Yeah. But it's good because your market is timing based. You can't call up a stranger and convince them to buy a house. I'm fine. Get out of here. I'm okay. Right. That's the difference between like B2B and B2C. It's like, but every homeowner has a bunch of requirements, and buying a new house happens 3 times in a lifetime.
Yeah, I think this new stat is like once every 7 years, but you're exactly right. It's what's fascinating is people do that in this industry.
It's the
They just
wrong
start calling people,
It's
hey,
perfect for inbound,
you
right?
want to be an inbound guy.
Yeah.
I think if in any business, I always joked around like, hey, if for whatever reason I got out of real estate, I'd probably go to B2B or something bigger ticket. But you'd always find a way to make it inbound. Not that I'm against prospecting. Got to do it. Got to do it. But if there's a way to get it inbound, boy, oh boy, is that a little bit nicer.
Right. And because that's it. There's just how many people are in market in your territory right now. And why not cultivate them over the years so they know who Andrew is?
Exactly.
That's why those Bravo guys probably get what, 100K a year to be on the show? Because it's free publicity for them.
Yeah, they're not doing it. They would pay to do it.
They
They'd
would
pay
pay to
100.
do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And they're making a lot more than their ROI is insane.
Right. Because, I mean, come on. I mean, a good realtor is valuable, but it's not rocket science, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because what people often discount the whole industry, and they probably should. And I'm not trying to stand up for it. There's a lot of people out there. You're probably better off doing it yourself.
Well, you know what a house does, right? You live in it. You can see it.
It's not about the house. It's about the deal.
Yeah.
There's deals to be had. And the beautiful thing about residential real estate is you're playing with a lot of money, leveraged money.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go invest and you're an average person and you have whatever, 20,000 bucks, if you want to go buy Apple, they want 20,000 for shares. Meanwhile, if your credit's good, you can lever up like crazy.
5 times, 10 times. Yeah.
10x, more than 10x. So now you can buy a 200K asset. And what's even more beautiful is you're not playing against these machines and algorithms and really smart people on Wall Street. And you're just playing with Harry Homeowner.
Right.
You want to beat somebody up? I'm the guy. I'll stuff money in your pockets.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we do. And I buy more real estate than all my clients. I'm like, you don't trust the ball barber. If there's a good deal, I'm buying it, but I don't have an insatiable appetite. There's plenty out there, but you got to know how to look for it. You got to know how to find it. And furthermore, you have to know how to execute across many different things. It's not just getting someone to agree to the deal. There's terms. I like to play again. Hey, you pick the price, I'll pick the terms. I say, hey, Brian, you want to buy the house? You pick the price, I'll pick the terms. It's all about the terms.
Yeah. And what's it like being commission only from your perspective?
You know, it's funny for me. I've never been on anything else but it.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. I'd imagine, like, I can't go back now. I was joking around. I'm unemployable. I can't. Like, I've called the shots for too long, and maybe it sounds arrogant, but it's like, I can't take people's bad
mindless
ideas.
meetings.
I can't do it.
That administration. You got to talk to you about your mileage.
Oh God. And I want to ask you, this is what used to drive me crazy. I never missed my quota at the new home sales company. It was a quick stint. I was there for 2.5 years. I was like one of the top guys in the company. And they'd say, this is a perfect example. Andrew, you need to do competitive shopping of all the other communities around that we're competing with. So take a day and go shop everyone else. And I refused to do it. They didn't like this. This is not the way to go, by the way. If you're going to try to stay in a company long-term, you do it.
You do what you're told. Yeah.
But I didn't do it because I didn't give a shit. I was 22. I'm like, what do you do? Fire me? Ooh. Like, I didn't.
Get another no-based job.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And I'd say, why on earth would I go study the people who are losers that we're kicking the daylights out of? Like, what good is that? And then I remember it was a big thing at one of the meetings. All the salespeople are there. Sales manager comes in. They're talking about the competitive shop. I didn't do mine, which I said I wasn't going to do.
Yeah.
And I said, look, guys, if you think this is so important, you have 12 people here. We're all doing it differently. No one quite knows how to do it. We're not actually auditors of other new home communities. So if you're really so hard set on this, why don't you hire somebody for $40K to do it systematically the right way, and let me go back to selling houses.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful point. I thought it was very well said. Didn't go over well for me.
No, I talk to sales leaders all the time, and the biggest complaint is cleaning up the CRM. It's like, well, why do you have 10 people who are making 6 figures do it? Hire one person making $40K a year to clean it exactly the way you want it. You
had a post, and I know everybody in your audience watches it. When you see this guy walking in his neighborhood, I'm like, this guy's he's feeling it today. He's about to drop some fire. So you said one, hey, the data's not in the CRM. Maybe it is a little bit, but the data is in your sales rep's head. And even better, it's in your prospect set. It's like,
Head.
when you said that, I was like, that is exactly 100% right. I don't understand how they don't get it. But, you know, when you're managing a ton of people and you have some
Well,
bureaucracy.
it's about power and control. And if you think for 1 second that anyone can like type everything out in a logical way, as soon as it's typed out, it's obsolete. Everyone
Yeah,
continues thinking after you type.
right. If it's not in there, it doesn't exist.
Right. And they're typing in what you want to see, not what the reality is.
Yeah, anything to make them look good. That's what these sales reps need to do.
And to leave us alone so we can do our job. And they don't read it anyway. So it's all, play work.
It is. It is. And it goes, I feel the sales manager is a tough job. I kind of got forced into do it because I'm a player, not a coach. And I'm making that very clear. And I let the people we work with know. And I have a partner too, who's more of that managerial role. And I have compassion and empathy. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more, I just want to get stuff done. What I find a lot of companies mess up is they want to take their top salespeople and make them managers. And I think that's a diametrically opposed skill set. And I know that's what companies do, at least the ones I've been involved with. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I'm a bad manager.
Yeah.
I just am. I'm not saying I couldn't learn the skill, but
it must be doubly hard when you have no base salary to hold over their head.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I say, hey, listen or don't listen. Come to the meetings, don't come to the meetings. I don't care. I ain't paying you.
Yeah.
But if you want to learn, if you want to get, what's great, this business is great. No ceiling, and that is true. You can sell, and these commissions are pretty big. You see the math on TV is right. You see that? Hey, you go sell $1 million house.
Well, that's it. It's crazy.
In this business, 1099, no W-2, no salary. You just get the money. You get the check.
Right.
Sell the $1 million house.
Everything's expensible. Yeah.
Here's 30 G's. Do whatever you want with it. You're going to have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Go figure that out.
Well, I'll tell you, yeah, you figure it out. You do as much of it as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So there is no ceiling, but what no one talks about is there's no floor.
There's no floor either.
There is no safety net. Insurance, no. Salary, no.
Right.
Training is almost not, I mean, there's some training. Most of the training in the residential real estate sector is how to sell a house, how to write a contract, how to do contingency.
Right, the administration.
Which is important. That's called knowing how to be a realtor. That's not sales training. But that's typically the training you get. And then some of the sales training you do get is more just enthusiasm-based and mindset-based, very important. But going to some of the deeper levels, again, I'm a Sandler fanboy, I'm more of a Newberger fanboy, if you will. The gold is really practicing the craft at a deeper level.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the B2B stuff that you've been working on. How have you noticed that being different, or have you?
Yeah, the B2B is very different. Like you mentioned earlier, the cast of characters, the decision makers are different. When in B2C, this is the guy or girl. This is the person who's buying a house.
It's
pretty
their
simple.
money.
Maybe their parents get involved. And when parents get involved, my saying is 100% closing. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, mom and dad's coming. The money's coming. Over. Done. Ink it. Put it in the bank. Cash it. It's over. Anyway, B2B is you can't assume you know the decision-making process for one.
Right.
Because there's typically a number of people, there's committees, depending on the size of the company. In my world, one of the main things I actually do is I like to go to these national builders. I understand. I've been on the other side of that table. I know what their pain points are and what they're trying to accomplish. And I really do think we can help a lot of times from the brokerage side. Because just because you're building these homes, the real estate agent community is very important to you. How do we bridge that gap? And that's where I make my B2B pitch, where I go to these bigger builders. I can't see if you can see this behind me. That's 36 townhomes that we just listed right here in Baltimore City. It's called Brewers Crossing. Check it out. We did a bunch of cool social. But that decision is much different because you're not just saying, hey, let me show you around the houses and whatnot. It's how do we look at this like a business and get you what you want? That part doesn't change. So assuming you have the right cast of characters in the room, don't assume you know what they want, because sometimes we already have our own sales team. We don't need you to do open houses. We don't need signage. We just need exposure. That's great. Now I don't need to present half my other shit. Let's just pick.
Yeah, because they do have their own sales staff, right?
A lot of times.
So you're trying to get the listing. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. And why do they need you?
Well, a lot of times these builders are kind of, you got to, in real estate, as we talked earlier, it's a very micro market. So how
Yeah.
you sell one product is not how you sell all the products. And these builders are building across communities all across Maryland. For example, if you're building 36 townhomes in Baltimore City at $500,000 sales price, the buyer profile demographic and how you communicate with these buyers and how you get to these buyers and how you handle start to finish, much different than the 700K half acre single family home.
Yeah.
So, and also the people who work those markets are different. Fortunately for us, we're big enough where it's like, look, we're selling more real estate than almost anybody around here. We got all this covered. So we want to target not just the consumer, which you certainly want to do.
Yeah.
We can also help target people like us, these other teams, and make sure everybody is aware of what you're offering and how easy it's going to be to sell your communities. Because what most builders do is they just say, hey, come sell the house. Like, we'll pay you a commission. Agents, a lot of them don't have as much experience in new homes. They'll shy away from it. Like, I don't want to bring my buyer there. It might take 8 months. They're going to try to cut me out. There's all this head
It's
trash.
not built yet. Right. Yeah.
It's all this nonsense. You got to dumb it down and make it really stupid. So when I go to them, I say, I just offer advice and perspective. That's all I'm really doing for anybody anyway, B2C, B2B.
Yeah.
I give them my 2 cents and try to get paid.
And they care about days on market, right? Time to get their money. That's costing them the most, probably.
They want to sell them. These builders want to sell these houses as fast as they can for the best price they can and do it without giving away the farm.
Yeah. Cool. And what advice would you have for salespeople to decide if real estate's a good match or not? I'm sure you've seen a lot of people come and go.
I try to convince people not to do it.
Really?
That's like my little test. I'm like, you want to get real estate? Oof. Well, again, you're not going to make any money for at least 3 months if you're good.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of expenses. And you're going to have to be willing to promote yourself relentlessly, which is uncomfortable. And I didn't even start doing it as much as I probably should have until maybe a few years ago. But no one cares if you sell a house or not. No one cares. If you don't follow up on your leads, someone else will.
Yeah.
So I just tell people it's a great business. I love the business. I hope to be in it forever. I think it's very rewarding. But again, if you're afraid to take a video of yourself or throw yourself out there, and you're not willing to really hone the craft, I can't come back to that. Like, I'm still a neophyte. I mean, I know some things, but I'm always looking to guys like yourself. Like, what can I pick up from this? B2B. If you're like that self-starter and a lifelong learner, you want to be in sales because no one gets paid like we do.
Right. Cool. Hey, where can people go to follow you and connect with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, Andrew Unum, just my name. Our company is the Sure Sales Group. We're pretty much everywhere. So I'm always happy I love connecting with people. If there's ever anything I can do to help your network, let me know. And I really appreciate you having me on. It was fun.